Hello students, this is Bhaskaran welcoming you to Adarsh e-learning program. Now we are going to see the remaining and concluding part of Prose 6, the last lesson written by Alphonse Daudet. Students, now let me read the passage. Poor man, it was in honor of this last lesson that he had put on his fine Sunday clothes. And now I understood why the old men of the village were sitting there in the back of the room. It was because they were sorry too that they had not gone to school more. It was their way of thanking our master for his 40 years of faithful service and of showing their respect for the country that was theirs no more. Franz pities on his teacher M. Hamel, and he says that now he understands why teacher has come to school in his special dress. It is because to respect his last lesson. And he also understands why the old men of the village were sitting in the classroom. That is also because they all feel very sorry for having not gone to school, and to thank the master Hamel for his 40 years of loyal duty or work done by him, and to show respect for the country, France, that is not going to be theirs any longer. Now, passage reading. While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. It was my turn to recite. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through, very loud and clear, and without one mistake? But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there, holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. Franz was just thinking about the pain Hamel would have had in his mind, and also about the way the local people were showing their respect to Hamel. But teacher Hamel was asking students questions on participles. By then, turn of Franz came. Teacher Hamel called his name to recite the rules for participles. That's all. He stood up. He was totally confused. He says he was mixed up. It means confused. He was not able to say even a single word about the rules for participles. He was holding the desk very tight. His heart was beating like anything. He was not daring to look up at his teacher. That is, he had no courage to look up at his teacher. By then he was thinking that he was ready to give anything to be able to say the rules for participles without any mistakes and loud and clear. He was looking sad. Now, the passage. I heard M. Hamel say to me, I won't scold you, little Franz. You must feel bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, Bah, I have plenty of time, I will learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. That's the great trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it? You pretend to be Frenchmen, and yet you can neither speak nor write your own language? But you are not the worst, poor little Franz. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. See, now Franz is standing unable to give answer, and teacher Hamel tells him the reason for his inability. He says, people usually postpone learning. They say they will learn tomorrow or the next day. Like that, they keep postponing, but they never learn. The same thing had happened with Franz also. And teacher Hamel says, see where it had brought them to. Now they are unable to say anything about their own language. And Hamel says, it is the problem with the people of Alsace. Now the Prussians out there have the right to ask them, how come they are not able to speak or write their own language? And so they may also criticize that they have been pretending to be Frenchmen. And Hamel says, France alone is not to be blamed, they have to blame themselves. That is what he says. Reproach means blame. Now, the passage is read out. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. They preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? Now, Teacher Hamel blames both the parents and himself for the inability of France to answer. He says, parents are not really interested in the learning of their children. They simply send them to work for earning some little money. At the same time, even the teacher himself had sent the boys or students to do some household work for himself, like watering the plants in the garden, instead of allowing them to learn their lessons. And for that, he feels sorry now. And not only that, he says that whenever he wanted to go fishing, he had given them holiday. That is, leave. Holiday is a British English word. Its American English is vacation, not vocation. Vocation means profession, job. Now, the next passage. Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. After that, Hamel continued praising the French language. He said it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical language in the world. Logical here means easily understandable. He asked everybody there to guard their language. Guard here means safeguard, preserve, protect. And he asked them not to forget it, because he says, when a people are enslaved, that is, when the people of a country are enslaved, that is, made slaves, only their language is the key to their freedom. Here, we have to see about a few words. You all know the meaning of the word people. You know it is a plural word, but here it's a singular word. That is why the article a is used before it. As a singular word, it means a country. So, Hamel says, when a people are enslaved, by that he means when the people of a country are enslaved, that is, made slaves. But after the word people, you find the plural verb are, because Hamel says, when the people of a country are enslaved, that is, when the people of a country are made slaves, only their language could save them, could give them freedom. That is what Hamel says. The key to their prison means the solution to their imprisonment or slavery, or the means to their freedom. And now, the next passage. Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said, so easy, so easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully, and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. That day, Hamel started a new lesson in grammar. It was so easy, it was very easy for Franz to understand, and he was so amazed how well he understood it. He felt it very easy, and he thought he never listened to Hamel so carefully, and also that even Hamel had never explained all the lessons with so much of patience. Patience means tolerance, endurance. The way Hamel taught that day seemed as if that poor man, that is, pitiable man, wanted to teach everything he knew to them before he left school, and that too to do everything in a single attempt. That is what the phrase "at one stroke" means. Now, let's move on to the next passage. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, M. Hamel had new copies for us written in beautiful round hand: France, Alsace, France, Alsace. They looked like flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desks. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once, some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them, not even the littlest ones, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was French too. On the roof, the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? That day, after the grammar session, they had a writing session, and Hamel gave them new copies to practice writing. Those copies were written in a beautiful round hand. The words France and Alsace were written everywhere in it. The writing pattern on those copies looked like flags floating everywhere in the classroom, within the schoolroom. And so beautiful they were. Everybody was writing it very quietly, and only the sound that could be heard within the classroom was scratching of the pens over the papers. The time, even some beetles flew in, but even the littlest students, the youngest students in the classroom, did not pay any attention to the beetles, that is, they did not listen to them. They were very seriously and sincerely writing. That time, the pigeons in the classroom cooed, and that made Franz wonder if the Prussians would make even those pigeons coo in German language. Pigeons means doves, and coo means the sound made by doves. Now, passage reading. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him, just like that. Franz was writing something, and whenever he looked up at his teacher Hamel, Hamel was sitting motionless, that is, still in his chair, and gazing first at one thing, then at another, that is, staring at one thing, looking very carefully at one thing, looking steadily at one thing now, and then at the other thing. It appeared as if he wanted to record everything in his mind so that he can remember everything and recall whenever he wants. So he was looking around the classroom. He was trying to fix everything in his mind, to record everything. Fancy, it means imagine. Just imagine, he had been there for 40 years, at the same place, working in the same school, with his garden outside the window and the classroom in front of him. Just he is seeing it now. So since he had lived so attached with the school and students for 40 years, he feels very painful and he wants to remember everything. So he was looking very steadily at everything, trying to record everything, etch everything in his memory and mind. Now the next passage. Only the desks and benches had been worn smooth, the walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hop vine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. We saw that Hamel was observing everything and wanted to remember everything that was within the classroom and outside. Within the classroom, the furniture, the desks and benches had been worn smooth, that is, they had become smooth with use. And outside the classroom, in the garden, were the tall walnut trees and the hop vine that was planted by Hamel himself, twined about, that is, twisted around or wound around the windows, and they were climbing to the roof. Hop vine is a climber plant of hop. Watching all this, Hamel looked very sad, and Franz wondered how it must have upset him. It must have broken his heart to leave it all, to leave France the next day. And upstairs, his sister was moving about in the room and packing things, packing their trunks. Trunk here mean a large strong box. It is otherwise called chest. She was packing because they had to leave the country, France, the next day. Now, the next passage. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a session in history, and then the babies chanted their ba, bi, bi, bo, boo. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. You could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. Ah, how well I remember it, that last lesson. This is about old Hauser. It is said that he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very end. Courage here means determination. After the grammar and the writing session, there was a lesson in history, and then the babies there were chanting the alphabet, and along with them, old Hauser was spelling the alphabet with his spectacles on, and he was going through his primer. His voice was trembling with emotion, and obviously he too was crying. The way he spelled the words was so funny that it made other children, other students in the classroom laugh and cry. And Franz wonders how well he remembered that last class, that last lesson, and it means it was completely unforgettable. All at once, the church clock struck 12, then the Angelus. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from the drill sounded under our windows. M. Hamel stood up, very pale in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. "My friends," said he, I, but something choked him. He could not go on. Here, Angelus means the prayer done in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. When the class was going on, the church clock struck 12. It was 12 o'clock noon, and the noon prayer was heard. Same time, trumpets were being blown by the Prussians. Trumpet is a musical instrument, a brass wind musical instrument. It was being blown by the Prussians, and they were returning from the drill. It sounded very close under the windows. Hamel stood up. He looked pale, distressed. Now Franz looks at him. To Franz, Hamel looks very majestic, very great. He had never seen him like that. Hamel started to speak, but he was not able to speak. Something choked him, made him not to speak, and he could not continue speaking. He was very emotional. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, "Vive la France." Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word, he made a gesture to us with his hand. "School is dismissed. You may go." Hamel turned to the board with a piece of chalk. Using all his strength, he wrote large on the board in French, "Vive la France." Then he stopped and rested his head over the wall, and leaning over the wall, he did not say even a word. He just signaled with his hand to the students that school is dismissed and that they may all go. The entire lesson, the story shows that how patriotic Hamel is and how he is upset because of being oppressed by the Prussians. Dear students, I hope I have made you understand this lesson to the greatest extent possible. Thank you. Thank you very much.